Does modern-day slavery really exist? Human trafficking is a taking advantage of human beings to benefit from it. Victims are commonly trafficked into forced labor, forced prostitution, and domestic servitude. Human trafficking is the world's third most illegal profitable action after drugs and arms trafficking, making us $10 billion every year or even more. The UN estimates a amount of 27 million people are exploited worldwide of slavery. Traffickers prey on those who hope for a better future, opportunity, and jobs. Victims can vary from men, women, or children, often from developing countries, as well as from those who lack education, money, or chances for work, study, and are in poverty.
Human trafficking is a global issue occurring right now in every country. Victims are tricked, forced, or coerced into slavery. Sometimes victims are trafficked by those who they know and trust, which includes neighbors, boyfriends, even families, as well as seemingly recruiters and agents.
Why does human trafficking exist? Demand for labor and work, demand for organ harvesting, hospital surgeons and patients as they ask for more organs. The organs are highly likely to come from the black market. Demand for child soldiering. Some countries are currently at war. Rebels are seeking children to train to become obedient soldiers for war. High profits and low risk. Common victims: undocumented immigrants, runaways, and homeless youth. Victims of trauma and abuse: refugees, individuals fleeing from conflict. Documented/legal. Minors under age 18 induced to perform commercial sex act. Those age 18 or over who are forced, deceived, or coerced into providing commercial sex act. Children or adults forced to perform labor or service in conditions of involuntary servitude, peonage, rape, bondage, or slavery through force, fraud, or coercion. Social network has become a new tool for traffickers to traffic their victims online. Many teenagers tend to put out their personal information in public on social networks without parents and the teenagers themselves realizing and knowing the danger it holds. International report from ECPAT estimate that each year a range of 40,000 to 70,000 children are involved in human trafficking, pornography, or prostitution in Indonesia. Indonesian girl was trafficked by a Facebook friend and later on was dumped at a bus stop. Altogether, 27 victims being abducted by people they met on Facebook.
Once victims are trapped, they are forced to work long hours, is in poor conditions, little pay or no pay. Threats and physical violence are used against them. Victims suffer from physical and emotional abuse, rape, and even deaths. Victims have their documentary identification taken away from them and is oppressed to pay off false debts. Debt labor is a type of slavery in the world. The victim becomes abandoned labor when their labor is demanded as a payment for a loan. Commonly, the agreements and terms of loan isn't clear, making it possible to pay it off. Also, if the bonded labor dies before the payment is paid off, the debt gets passed on to the rest of the family.
Forced labor. Companies are often refusing to buy cotton grown in Uzbekistan, since women, men, and children that are being forced by government to work in the country industry harvesting cotton. Often the products we use, wear, or eat are made by some form of slavery behind the scenes. For example, H&M is a trading store that buys cotton from Daewoo, which is a corporation that benefits from selling slave-grown cotton in Uzbekistan to other companies. How to identify a victim/report crime: strict or poor living conditions, poor mental health or odd behavior, anxious, submissive, paranoid, fearful, and avoids eye contact, poor physical health, lacks control of oneself or possessions, lacks knowledge of whereabouts, lost track of time, has inconsistencies in his or her story. Where human trafficking can be found: commercial sex, domestic situations, nannies or servants, factories, constructions, farming or landscaping, fisheries, hotels or tourist industries, panhandling, janitorial services, restaurant service. How to avoid traffickers / protect children. Do not make decisions when under substances and in the company of people you do not fully know or trust. Traffickers tend to take advantage of that while you're unconscious. If someone, whether stranger or acquaintance, promises something that seems too good to return, if you have the slightest mind of doubt, don't go along with it. Ask questions, seek advice from family, friends, do background check, and search on the internet. Traffickers quickly befriend a person, shower them with gifts and displays of affection, particularly recruiters who will later force a girl into prostitution. If the person wants you to go with them, so know see how they react. Look for signs of abusive or possessive behaviors. If the person is trying to isolate or turn you against family and friends, if so, avoid that person. Story of victim in debt slavery. According to the CNN Freedom Project, an Indian man who borrowed $110 to marry his wife. Later on, his entire family is working for more than 14 hours to the landowner in the brick kilns to repay the debt. Since the family needs health care, they got to take out more loans, adding to the money owned. The landowner charges 100% of interest on existing loan. Solutions. Do clean business, meaning running clean businesses. Administration, international organizations out to toughen enforcement and support anti-slavery work worldwide. Educate the unaware or vulnerable about dangers and their rights. Demand an anti-free slavery produce. Donate to organizations that's helping to stop human trafficking. Sign a petition against slavery products. And report. A recap: slavery, forced work without pay under threat of violence and unable to walk away. 27 million slaves in the world today. Slavery is not legal anywhere but happens everywhere. Each year, thousands of slaves are trafficked into the U.S. The majority of slaves can be found in Indian and African countries. Slave work in fields, brothels, homes, mines, restaurants, anywhere where slave owners can feed their greed. Human trafficking is about a slave day trade. $19 is the average cost of a human slave around the world. Slaveholders use many terms to avoid the word slavery: debt bondage, on labor, attached labor, restorative forced labor, indentured servitude, and human trafficking. We can end slavery in our lifetime. Everyone has a role to play: governments, business, international organizations, consumers, and you.
Let's make the world a safer place for everybody by treating others the way we want to be treated.